the slides. Yes. Picture only. Is the PowerPoint. Okay, that's what I do. Like PowerPoint, merge the PowerPoint with the. So if you view the PowerPoints are very clean because it is separately merged.
Maybe we should share the PowerPoint also along with the
you have a
videos.
presentation
Yeah.
where all the PowerPoints are there. It's nice to look at.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about, making a book out of it.
Yeah. So once we set up the new OneDrive, I'll keep PowerPoints there.
I actually have folders for you.
Yeah.
You can just upload it when
Yeah, just show me once.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You already fine? Wow. You guys are.
I felt it. You are a cold person. Right?
Yeah. I'm still hot. I'm sorry, but you guys, if you guys are feeling cold, that's okay.
It's oversensitive.
Yeah, one is undersensitive. The other is- Okay. Gosh.
The last time I think we switched off that in review for something like that we did, and
We did everything after that. Like we did the OS update for the laptop. Everything is
No, I think the TV needs
the
a,
TV
needs an update.
Turn off and turn on again.
Yeah, power down. And power.
Can you please?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
No, I think the OS on the TV that needs an update. You have to connect it to the optimum.
You had to see chance of no show, I'm not
When
That
things goes wrong, that day everything is like that. Today, right from the traffic onwards, is like this.
Om Namah Shivaya only works along with the technology. Right? Just saying Om Namah Shivaya is not going to help.
See chance
I know.
If you connect an HDMI cable.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. Like sometimes these wireless connections,
Yeah,
it's not that clear.
to be.
Exactly 1 hour
yeah, it drops. Yeah.
drops. So, like we were doing this most complicated map derivation we ever did.
Exactly the critical point.
Gradient descent. This, but it connected immediately.
Yeah. So everybody was asking for the video, so I had to share it again. But I didn't make it
Yeah,
public.
make it public.
I didn't make it public. It's all.
This one we can make it public.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, one.
So I unlisted it and then I just gave the link in that.
Yeah, that's fine. No, that's perfectly fine.
But the content is yours. I mean, like it is.
But still.
I mean, like I don't think we touched anything on proprietary stuff, right?
No. Content is general content. It is the math content. It's not my content. Somebody else. And if it is calculus, it is Newton.
It's happening. Maybe you need to reboot the. Yeah.
I think laptop needs, but we can get started. Do you work on it?
Yeah, sure.
So, Avasthatraya,
What was the password again?
8272. Kumar and all, they knows my password.
Well, the problem with me is I have a really bad memory. So that's okay. Now, how do I get out of this?
8272.
No.
Yeah.
There's no home button, right?
No. I'm just restarting the laptop.
There's no home button in this, right? That gets me confused.
Yeah. With the new iPhone, there is no home button.
Yeah.
Need to talk a little bit or?
Just click.
No, I'm just.
It won't be. It will be loose.
No,
also,
the
right?
button
Just
is on this thing, that's why. Plus, I can't see you and the
Yeah,
screen.
now it's good. That's why I usually come 15 minutes earlier. All the setups will be done. Though they say like it is plug and play, sometimes a prayer also is needed along with that. Plug and play.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can continue the discussion. Like, let me pick up the thread. We were talking about Panchakosha. So why the whole thing, right? The before Panchakosha, what did we see? Shariratraya, the three bodies, and then we talked about Panchakosha. The whole thing is a part of an overall teaching methodology called Drik Drishya Viveka. Drik Drishya Viveka is a very powerful teaching methodology in Vedanta. What is the purpose of this Drik Drishya Viveka? Why this teaching methodology is used? That's very important to understand. Because we wanted to understand who am I and what am I. These are the two different things we need to understand. Forget who am I. We get confused with what exactly am I. So we started by saying that most of our problem is because of this wrong understanding of who am I and what am I. With some good example, we illustrated the problem with wrong understanding. If you remember the example of that snake and the rope, an incorrect understanding created unwanted pressure, stress, and everything. And how can I remove that incorrect understanding? Only through knowledge. We established that, right? Any amount of meditation, any amount of puja, any amount of hatha yoga, any amount of pranayama will not give me that knowledge. But this pranayama or prayer or the meditation would give me the necessary mindset with which I can understand the truth. Exactly. To make me calm so that I can thinking. Because otherwise, if I'm completely upset, if a passerby come and tell you that, hey, you are the 10th man, I won't recognize it. So if you see the snake and if you lose your consciousness, or if you're so scared, even if I tell you that it is a rope, it won't register with you. So first you need a mindset. So that's why knowledge is the only way. Knowledge is the only way. When we say knowledge is the only way, it is not like X is the only way. That's not the point. The point is, if the problem is ignorance, the problem of ignorance can be solved only through knowledge. We are not saying that this is the exclusive knowledge. Any knowledge that reveals the true self is good enough. So we are not fundamentals there. It means the moment I say the only knowledge is the only way, people may think that this is fundamental. So having said that, right, we said for this knowledge to work properly, we need to have a precondition. And that, what is that precondition? It is a two words we used. One is chitta shuddhi. What was the second one? Chitta sthiti. First is the mind should be purified. If the mind is not purified, this knowledge will not become an experiential knowledge. We used two words for this, remember? Para, aksha, anubhuti, aparoksha. So this is, he said, when I talk about Vedanta, Dridrishya Viveka, all those things, it is a para, aksha, anubhuti. It's an indirect experience for you. Theoretically, you understand. Okay, A, B, therefore C, you understand that. But that's not what your experience is. So for this theoretical experience to become a practical or a reality, real experience, we need to have two conditions. One is called chitta shuddhi and the chitta sthiti. And the chitta shuddhi can be achieved through karma yoga. And chitta sthiti can be achieved through upasana yoga. And upasana yoga, we said the upasana should be at the 4 levels. Body level. Second one is sense organs level. The third one is speech level. Sense organs means jnanendriya, the organs of perception. It has to be controlled. Speech level and mental level. At the mental level, we said that there could be 4 types of discipline you need to cultivate in the mind. 4 types of disciplines, right? What are they? Remember? Relaxation, you should have the skill to relax. You should have the skill to concentrate. You should have the skill to expand, and you should cultivate values in the mind. 4 types of meditation. Every meditative practice we do can be put into these 4 buckets. And speech level, I quoted from Bhagavad Gita, remember? It should be Anudvegakaram Vakyam Satyam Priyam Hitam. These are the beautiful definition. It should not be hurting to other people. It should be truth, but truth constrained by Priyam and Hitam. Somebody is going to die today. Like, would you go and tell him that, are you going to die? Sometimes speak only that is beneficial to the other person. Priyam Hitam. And body level, what are the discipline? Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati. Appropriate food, quality, quantity, timing. Brilliant, right? Quality, quantity, timing. Appropriate amount of activity, not too much, not too less. Appropriate amount of sleep, not too much, not too less. Appropriate amount of recreation, not too much, not too less. Vijay, you do a lot of wellness, right? What else is there in the modern wellness program other than this?
Exactly. Perfectly. Everything is put in there. There's nothing else we can think of.
Yeah, nothing else we
Yeah.
can think. And
Yeah.
DPP, you went through the material.
Yeah.
They don't have anything more than this.
Yes. You can open this, Rajesh.
No, it's okay.
I know if
We
you
need some circulation inside, right?
can open it, yeah.
We just need some circulation
I
inside.
know it's something to really feel comfortable with this patient. You can open it.
No, it's okay. Yeah, that cold is seeping in. You guys will feel cold. It's okay. We just need the
Okay,
air.
so yeah, please Vijay. Continue. You are saying something.
No, I'm
No, you
just
were
saying
saying-
that actually this is campuses, everything actually.
Yeah.
You cannot really think of anything outside this.
Exactly. That's what I was wondering. Like, this was a shocker to me when I was reading the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
And after reading all these wellness programs, and mind you, this obesity and all became problem only when?
Recently.
Maximum 100 years,
Yeah.
not even 100 years. And we are talking this in 6,000 years back. Your food has to be controlled, your activity has to be controlled, your sleep has to be controlled. In the commentary, it is even better, like the timing, like you cannot go and sleep in different time. Make sure that it is properly balanced. So all said, then we said, okay, now we need to understand what is the means of self-inquiry. If self-ignorance is the problem, how do I understand myself properly? So that's the question. How do I do that? So that's why we said there are different teaching methodologies in Vedanta. And one of the most powerful and most popular method is Drishya Viveka. We wanted to differentiate between what is the seer, the difference between the seer and the seen. The basic logic used here is observed is different from observed. Very fundamental. It's very obvious, but we don't know that. So then to take this, we said like whenever we see something, right? Three scenarios we said. I see a flower outside. Flower is the scene, my eyes is the seer. What is the second level of it? It means the image in my eye is the scene, whereas
My mind is.
the mind, the thought pattern is the seer. The third category is what? The consciousness in me is the seer. What exactly is the consciousness is seeing? It is the chitta. So these are the three levels. So who is the real seer? Consciousness. So then we talked about a fundamental problem typically people have. We called it as identification, and the second one is attachment. When I identify with something other than myself, that's a problem. When I identify with my computer, when I identify with my phone, imagine that I'm talking to somebody in India. Without that phone, I cannot talk to that person in India. But the phone is a gadget given to me, that is not me. Like that, we said the body is a gadget given to you. For what? For transacting with the world outside. So naturally, what would be the question? You may talk about, okay, I'm sensation. We talked about two problems identified with the body. Why I identify with my body? There are two problems or two reasons. One is the sensation. The nervous system makes me feel that this is the boundary. And I illustrated that particular point by citing phantom limbs, because it's a sensational feeling. Like phantom limb tells you that your amputated hand got touched. How? So it is a sensation. It is an intro. It's a complicated mathematical transformation is happening there. The neural network, nobody in the world can even think about such a complicated network. After 2 lessons, we are going to see that in machine learning. You will see how complicated it is. Even with machine learning, right? So this machine learning can be used to say means assess the quality of your essay. Such complicated machine learning neural network, it will assess the quality of the network, but what exactly is the logic used, even the creators of the program cannot find out. That is how the neural networks are designed. It's such a fascinating theory. We will learn that. But what I'm trying to say is that the space-time feeling we have, it is created by our neural system. So second problem I said was like the position of our sense organs. I feel that I'm spatially here because my eyes are here. Behind the eyes, I put myself. I was joking, like suppose I can take my eyes off and put that in the road, I may run back. So this position of the sense organs. Second one is the nervous system gives me a feeling that I belongs to this body. I-ness. So then what we need to understand is that, right? Our experience may not be always true. I identify with a particular gadget. Is that gadget important to me? Absolutely. Without that gadget, can I interact with the world? No. If there is no plane, I'll be stuck here, right? How do I go to India? So the gadgets are absolutely must-have for transacting with the world outside. But is that gadget myself? There's a difference. One is, it is my gadget. The second thought is, the gadget is me. So I take the body as me, I take the mind as me, I take something else as me. So we wanted to take a detailed inquiry. What exactly is the probable things I can identify with? Remember, the problem is identification. I'm coming to the problem of attachment a little bit later. One is my me. Second is what? Mine. One is me. The second one is what is mine. These are the two problems sources. Wrong identification of me and mine is the problem. So how do I prove the problem of identification? So we took the first analysis based upon the three bodies: Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karna Sharira. And we proved that, theoretically proved that, they are not me. Remember?
Yeah.
So the different categories of body, the subtle body with its 19 components, remember?
Yeah.
So, causal body, typically written as casual body in books. Then we talked about the next, that this is based upon the body level grouping. Another way of dicing and slicing this biochemical machine is, another way is what? Based on functions, Pancha Kosha, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya. So now we're coming to the third identification problem. This is a little bit more obvious, you will understand very easily this. So let's take that.
Can you try to share more?
Yeah, sure. Now try to connect. So today what we are going to see is the Avastatraya. This Avastatraya means three states of experience. One word of caution. Sometimes what happens is this Vedanta is so casually taught that sometimes this wrong teaching becomes more popular than the real teaching. So sometimes people say that there are four states. So they say that this enlightened state, which is known as Turiya, is a separate state. Let me ask you a question. If you are enlightened, you will be awake, you will be sleeping, you will be dreaming. So, how can that be a separate state? So, that is wrong. Shankaracharya, in his commentary, he clarifies that very clearly. So, don't say that there are 4 states. 3 states of experience. We are trying to see that very clearly. It is known as Jagrat, Swapnaha, and Sushupti. Jagrat means son.
You know, so.
Jagrat, and we are going to see that where my mind is identified. Okay. Come on, hopefully. Oh, fine. Okay. The restart was required for the laptop. Okay.
Are you mirroring or extending?
I was mirroring.
Okay.
It's like,
Okay. Now laptop is there, but
maybe it came as a second additional monitor.
Yeah, maybe it's extended. If you try to drag it to the right,
I click and it's PowerPoint online.
yeah.
This is PowerPoint. Play the PowerPoint, then you'll get the opportunity.
Extended.
So
Now again.
you go to presentation mode and yeah. I don't know. No, you can play this from that screen.
No, I mean, you only extended, right?
Yeah. You don't need to extend. Just delete it.
Yeah, that's
Okay. That is good.
it.
And try.
Yeah, it got extended. It got extended, it's fine.
I am not able to play it.
Just try pressing F5 maybe.
Presentation mode.
Screen size is too big.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Resolution on the screen.
Somehow changed.
Yeah.
So the Windows up, you should see in the bottom right. The PowerPoint window, if you push it up.
Yeah, but it is not. That's the problem.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Theoretically, yes. None of those buttons are the same.
Oh, I know what that's it's in a different mode that is. When you click it is actually giving a dot there. So yeah, you press escape if you know of that.
No, those are all fine. All that is fine.
No, seems like 125%.
Yeah.
Okay. Close it and that's all. That's one right. If you open that, go to Bhagavad Gita. Sorry, Vedanta. It's in one right. No, this is connected to one right. Bhagavad Gita. Oh,
Yeah, we should connect to that.
not Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta. Introduction to Vedanta. Okay.
Sorry, I can't.
Let's go to the online mode. Sorry,
Oh, it's in the one,
it's in one right.
what's in the one drive?
Say I rely too much on technology, so I don't even take a backup.
No, no,
So-
what we should do is, it's in the P-Cell drive,
Yeah, it's in
On
my,
right.
my
your P-Cell, your Rajesh drive.
yeah.
Yeah. Then what? Right. Okay. Because
So presentation. Yeah. Hopefully. Yes, this is good. You don't need even software in the PC. Everything is cloud.
All cloud-based technology.
Yeah. So okay, so Avastatraya. So this Avastatraya means three state of experience. And what exactly is the entities that experience this experience? Because they are not me. That is what we are trying to see, right? And this is the theme of one whole Upanishad called Mandukya Upanishad. What is the literal meaning of Manduka? Frog.
frog.
So it's a kind of a frog's Upanishad. So the whole Upanishad equates this three avasthas as three lotus leaves. And this frog, who is myself, is jumping from one leaf to the other. That is the theme of the entire Upanishad. It's one of the most powerful Upanishads. Swami Tadatmananda is giving a detailed class on Tuesday. If anybody is interested, they can go. It's fantastic. He's doing that with the Mandukya Karika.
Is it available online?
Yeah, the MP3s are available online.
Okay.
I can send that details. But this Upanishad is very powerful. It's only 12 verses. But Gaudapada Acharya, he wrote a Karika on this, which is another 100 plus verses. And then Shankaracharya wrote a commentary on the Karika.
Karika means?
Karika means it's an explanation, like it is a poetic form. He wrote some details.
Commentary on it.
Commentary, it's not commentary, it's not prose, it is poetic. Like he composed 100 plus verses on Mandukya Upanishad. Did you study Mandukya Upanishad?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So one thing we are going to analyze is three factors. If you remember, we did the same approach for the Shariratraya also. We analyzed like who is the experiencer, what is the matter, remember? One was gross matter or physical matter, the other one subtle matter.
Right.
Like that, here three things we are going to analyze. One is the condition of the mind in each state. Second one is the nature of experience. And the third one is the dominant medium in each state. So we are going to see these three states and we are going to analyze these three factors from each of these three states. This is
brilliantly did in the Mandukya Upanishad and Karika. What I did was I just pulled out and put that into a structure. That's all. The whole thing is from the Upanishad. No material is ours. So the first one, it is the waking state. So before looking at the slide, what is waking state?
Whenever you're waking in the morning.
Yeah, you're right now we are in a waking state. We are not slept or we are not in a dream state. That is the simple definition. So that's a simple definition.
So when you are aware of the surroundings and you're
in dream, you are aware of your surroundings. Do you think that you are in a dream when you are in dream?
No.
At that time there is a dream ice cream, there is a dream car, there is a dream wife. Everyone is there around you. So at that time you don't know. But what is the precise definition of the state, waking state? You will be able to interact with
the materialistic world.
Just a much little bit.
Yeah, you are able to interact with the world outside. The external world, you are transacting with the external world. That's very important. So the first thing is, what would be the conditions of the mind? All the functions of the subtle bodies are fully active. Like, remember, in the subtle body, I defined sense organs and the power of speech or the power of vision. It is subtle. Remember the example of hardware and software? The camera should be there, but there has to be a software that operates the camera. So all the physical sense organs will be active. The eyes will be open, the ears will be active, and they will be receiving signals from where? External world, right? The eyes will get light from the external world, the ears will receive sound from the external world. So the external world means our physical body will be fully functional and it will be interacting with the external world using the power of sense organs provided by the subtle body. What exactly will be fed to my mind? It is the input capturing from the external world. Clear? It's very simple. It's not a rocket science at all. Then what is the nature of the experience? It is going to be external world. You said that. Tangible world. Because, see, I see this slide here. You also see the slide here. But imagine if I was dreaming and I'm seeing this slide in my dream. Tomorrow, as I asked you, right? How was your experience of that slide? So that experience I had in the dream state is available only to myself. Whereas the experience I have in the waking state is available to other people. That's a very good, very good classification. So objective experience, that is what it means. Then the sense organs based experience. The experience are captured by the sense organs. Then it's a two-way transaction. I get the information, I can give something out to the external world. Two-way means my transaction with the world is two-way. Then medium of experience. It is the physical body and the subtle body. I use the gross because that is the standard textbook, but here gross has a different meaning. We talked about that. So this is the waking state. Waking state, yeah. Some books say walking state. I can see that. There are so many books which talks about the walking state and casual mode. Casual mode is very common. Initially, I thought that it is casual mode.
So your medium of experience, why do you include a subtle body?
Because the subtle body is active. Because if the subtle body is active, I won't see anything. Because remember the software part? The 19 components of subtle body is what? Power of perception, power of action, manaha, buddhi, ahangara, chitta, 14 plus panchaprana.
19.
Panchaprana, right? Panchaprana, prana, vyana, apana, udana, samana. Just keep this in mind because when we go to study Upanishad, we need all these things. It will just refer Pancha Prana or it will refer Sukshma Sharira. So at that time we need all, because this is just introducing the terminology.
So the gross body, you have the hardware for it.
Yeah.
The subtle body, you
Software.
have the software to run
Yeah,
the.
exactly. That's it. The physical body means, I would use the word physical body. Physical body is the physical, because that you can touch and see. So the neurons, all that is physical body.
You can say, why subtle body?
Yeah. So.
Without help of the subtle body.
No. Yeah, subtle body is there, but in the dream state, it is the subtle body only.
Yeah, here it is both. It is gross body and subtle body.
Subtle body by default in waking state.
Deep sleep, you won't get it. So we'll come into that.
That is only the waking state for now.
Right now it's waking.
Yeah.
That's it.
Subtle body, you'll only get the causal body, right? Because your subtle body won't interact with anything.
Subtle body will not interact without physical body.
Right.
That's it. Causal bodies means it is in the seed form. Remember the
Oh, yeah.
Remember we talked about 3 examples. One is the hardware, second one is the software, third one is the exe file. If you run the exe file, what happens? The operating system will be installed.
Right.
Like that, at
Yes,
the time of
start.
Pralaya, what is going to happen? Only the exe file kept. You don't keep neither the hardware nor the software. Everything will be dismantled. Remember we discussed that.
Right.
We had that long discussion.
And it's only available in the start and the end.
Yeah, right. These are all important. If you have this base, Upanishads will be cakewalks. It's very easy to learn Upanishad, at least theoretically. Yeah. See, we cannot do anything more than theoretical. Then without Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, it is a subjective thing.
Yeah.
Maximum means a facilitator can do is only theoretical knowledge.
Quantum jump, the subject has to undertake.
And yeah. So now let's go to the dream state. So waking state is clear. Dream state, before looking at the slide, tell me what exactly is dream state, what is happening? Your own experience. I'm not talking about something which is not beyond your experience. These 3 avasthas are our own daily experience. So waking state, everybody is clear. As long as everybody is awake right now. Dream means what?
We also know we always have, we are one of the characters, right?
I can't add to it because I support don't dream.
Maybe you don't remember.
You don't dream?
I don't know. I don't dream.
You don't dream?
I can't dream. I don't know.
You must be dreaming, but you're not remembering.
Maybe, but it's like from my experience, I have no dreams.
Wow. That's a very unique experience. So in dream, what happens? So Ratnagiri, where you would be sitting? Your physical body is where?
Some other.
In your bed. Let me assume,
Right.
in your bed, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So where exactly, what transaction you would be doing? You would be climbing in a tree, or you would be singing, or you would be giving some lecture to somebody. Depending upon your own taste and interest, something will come. And in your experience, dream experience, you would be transacting with a word. Underline a word. You will be talking to somebody, and somebody, you will be hearing something in the phone. Correct? You will be getting wet in the rain. You will feel hot, heat and cold. Almost every experience in the physical world that comes to you. But where exactly is your body lying? This is a very key point highlighted in the Vedanta, because as far as the experience is concerned, it is pretty much similar to what you had in your physical world. Sometimes you get up and cry, right? Suppose there was a dream which is too emotional. What happens? You may even get up and cry. And imagine, like, if you saw a snake in the dream or a ghost in the dream, when you get up, check your heartbeat. The body will respond as if it is a physical world. But where exactly is your body lying?
Wherever it was. Just say.
So what happened? Yes, Vijay.
So I wanted to ask something other than what I never did. So dream, we always, when we say dream state, we always do when we're sleeping in the night, something imagine, right? It could happen even during the right now also.
Absolutely.
For example, in the past half an hour you're listening to, I don't think 100% of the time you're listening to Rajesh. You probably went somewhere else and came back then.
Mind could be
You're studying right here, right? But in that dream state, daydreaming state that is, you yourself went somewhere, brought that, this and all, right? That is, right? So imagine that you're right here. The physical body is not doing nothing basically. That your mind went somewhere, and this is exactly like a dream state. That.
Yes. So that's why the whole thing comes from your memory.
You're right, there's no dream state.
Exactly. So so that there's nothing like you don't dream that is. In fact, 90% of the time you're daydreaming that is.
So in scientific language, in the first state, right, in the waking state, the inputs comes from the external world. So imagine like it's like a feed or to a computer, means to a monitor, right? What fed to the monitor will be shown on the screen. Now it is supposed to feed this particular presentation, but if I can intervene and put some signal, that is what the hackers does, right? So what is going to be projected on the screen? So what is available in my chitta bhumi, that is the technical term, in my mental screen, chitta bhumi, in my mental screen, what is projected there is going to be my experience always.
Memory bank, right?
It's called the memory, that is chittam. This I'm talking about the chitta bhumi. Chitta on a high level means mind. Bhumi means what? Ground or earth or ground. So what is being projected in my chitta bhumi? That is what is going to my experience. So you are seeing me right now and you are hearing me right now. Why? Because in your mind, active mind or executive mind in the modern terminologies, the active or executive mind, what exactly is the signals that are represented? It is me, because your eyes are capturing it. But what happens? Suppose you check out on me and you start thinking about a party you attended yesterday. You're physically sitting here. That's what Vijay was talking earlier. You might be physically sitting here, but what is being projected in your chitta bhumi? The dance in the party. So even though your hearers is capturing my voice, but that is not what you say your experience.
But for example, suppose you are really angry with your boss, let's say. You come back to your office and do something. Your mind is set there to go and beat him and come back. In your mind, you may be thinking that. And you're aware of that thought. That is.
Yeah. But the simple example is the dream. Right. In your dream, what happens? I'm in Disney. But is my eyes capturing the Disney images right now? Absolutely not. I'm sitting and listening to Yeshudas now, right? Concert.
But your consciousness is watching that.
But what a consciousness will watch whatever that is projected to the mind. What is projecting to the mind, right? That is the difference.
Yeah.
So the avastha traya is going to determine what exactly is being projected into your mind, chitta bhumi. So if it is waking state, what will be projected to the mind? What I am capturing from the external world will be projected. So my experience will be based upon that. If I am in dream, what happens? What is projected by my mind from my memory, that will be projected. How can I be in the Disney world right now? It is being projected somewhere from my stored memory. That is projected to my mental screen, and that will be my experience. Mind you, the identification, right? In the dream, there is always an I. I identified with something, right? Which is not at all real. But when you were in that dream, what was your experience? I felt
It was real for you.
Yeah. And some people always watches only these horror dreams. There's a temple in Kerala, people go and pray there to Hanumanji. What is the prayer? Don't show me these horror dreams. Arathu, yeah. It's that Hanumanji is known for that.
Yeah. That's true, actually. I can relate some of the experiences.
But the point I was trying to make here is that, right? Right now you think that this is me, this is Ratnagar, or this is Rohitji, this is Rajesh, or this is Vijay. All that experience is me. And I think that that is my experience and I'm real. But Vedanta is just taking you to the dream. In your dream, you thought that horrible thing is happening to me, or I had a wonderful experience. Why that? Why I had that experience? I identified with the projections of my mind. When I identified with the projections of my mind, what is going to happen? A new world of experience happened to me.
But it can also come from outside of your memory also, right?
Interesting question. Actually, somebody asked these questions to a lot of people.
What is the question? Sorry?
Like
It can also come
you,
outside.
how you may see some dream which was never ever in your experience.
So you can imagine new worlds. and
It
stuff like
can
that,
create it, right? These components are there, right? You have these multiple components, and permutations and combinations are infinite.
But it all out of imagination. For example, like a dream of Mars.
right? Yeah, exactly.
I never went there, but based on the theory that I read, how the ground is
Yeah.
there, blah blah blah, everything, right? It constructs something there.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
when you study the neural network, you will understand this, right? So what happens is, the book I read earlier, right? The ghost vision in dream. Anyone of you have actually saw the ghost? So yes, something beyond your actual experience can happen in dream. I know one person who always dream ghost. So they call in our Kerala tradition, I don't know in other places, there are different categories of ghost. So they call Raktayakshi, Vatayakshi, all those things.
It's probably somewhere and then it's
Yeah, so Raktayakshi means the yakshi or the ghost will drink your blood.
Yeah.
So Vatayakshi means that yakshi will be always there in a tree. So when you walk near the tree, they will ask for something like a pan and okay. What I'm saying is that so these serials and movies are always showing this,
Yeah.
and that is in your unconscious, and you can project it.
Well, you see one horror movie, so you can get all these kind of dreams. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this particular one he's talking about is really nice because it's a beautiful lady coming to you. She'll offer you bitter leaves to eat, like pan, right? So you eat the pan, and then she's basically taking you to her inside her house. But actually, you are in real life, you're actually climbing a tree.
Oh,
So
nice.
you go to the top of the tree, and then she kills you over.
Yeah,
That's
that's a good example. You
That's
think
the
that
story.
you're getting a wonderful sensual experience, but it is
Yeah.
leading you to somewhere else.
Yes,
So
yeah.
what it does is it cuts off your sensory input and it feeds a new input.
Yeah.
This is a good example. So the point I was trying to say is that in the case of the other waking state, the experience was the input from your sense organs, whereas in the case of dream state, the input is from my memory. My memory means whatever I learned. It can different permutation and combination and projection, or at least it is the transformation of the data from my memory. That is correct, right?
But definitely limited to the memory.
That is good enough.
All thoughts originate from memory.
Memory.
There is no memory, there is no thought.
Yeah. See, yeah, exactly. So what is the nature of it?
So, but you thought can create things also, right?
Of course.
Like, say you read a book on, say, Gautam Buddha, right? You can imagine him walking on the streets and saying
Yeah.
things. I mean, you haven't seen it, you haven't, experienced it, but you can actually
Right.
imagine it.
See that when you read the Buddha, what happens? Your mind captures that picture.
The image, right? Yeah.
You just said that actually that memory from that memory, the thought could
The
be
thought.
created.
And the thoughts can give a color. The thoughts can give a name, right? The thoughts can give a shape. All that is things. We never saw Rama,
Right.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Most of these things are given by Ravi Verma and such people, right?
Yeah.
These faces. So
All the pictures that we imagine
Right.
is basically those.
the artist
Artist.
imagination, like Vishnu and all, it is artist imagination
Yeah.
from Ravi Verma did a new dimension to these things.
Yeah.
Raja Ravi
But
Verma.
I think since the TV serial came out, Mahabharata and Krishna, I mean,
Nitish Bharadwaj is the
Niraj
Krishna.
Bharadwaj is the Krishna right now.
Anyway, so let's go. Nature of experience. If the waking state was external world, here the experiences are coming from the internal world. Very simple and obvious, right? Abstract world. It is not the real world. If it was the original one, means waking, it was real world. Real world means empirical world. Let me use that way. it's the external world you experience. The third one is it is subjective experience. Why? Earlier I said it is objective experience. Because
so only you are
right
experiencing
now, if I ask your experience and your experience of this class, both of you can say same thing. But the dream you had, no way for him to understand. So that's why it's internal. And then it's a memory and vasanas based experience, whereas the other one is sense organs based experience. Is it clear? Like
Mhm.
the Upanishad is brilliant. I just collected the points only. These are some 30-40 verses in the Karya. So that is condensed into one picture. Next is medium of experience. The physical body is not active here. So now let's go to the deep sleep state. What is the difference between dream and deep sleep? What is your experience of deep sleep since you don't dream? What is your experience of sleep?
There's only one also.
You're not aware of anything happening around you, right?
So what exactly? So like let's use that same screen example in the Chitta Bhumika, right? Or in the screen of the mind. If in the first case the projection input was from the camera, external cameras, right? Or when I say camera, all the different sense organs. In the case of dream,
So internal.
memory, right? Memory created the sound, memory created the. Right? In dream, you hear the wonderful stereophonic sound, 5.1, 7.1 sound you will hear. The bars and all you will experience in dream. It is created from the mind. Imagine how complicated it is. All the spatial difference, everything is there. It's fantastic. Whereas in the case of deep sleep,
The screen is switched off.
no, the screen, there is nothing in the screen.
Project-
The screen is
project-
blank.
The screen is
So the
blank.
consciousness is always there, but there is nothing to see.
It's like when you turn off the lights, everything is darkness. Can you see?
Right.
You can see, but there's nothing there to see.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah,
So
you can see. You can see that.
Yeah, you can see. You see the darkness. So you see.
There is nothing there is nothing appearing that.
Right.
But once you use something is projected, then you can see there, right?
True.
Similarly, when you have a nice good sleep, you know that you had a good sleep, right? Then that is known to whom?
Only myself.
I don't want to take it too deep now. That is,
But that's good. There is nothing to watch. So let's see.
Yeah.
Sleep state means what? The subtle body is almost dormant. Physical body is dormant. Subtle body is also almost dormant. The mind is shut down. The power of perception is shut down. And almost everything is in a hibernate mode. That's exactly the sleep mode.
Correct.
See, I find this computer example with the human system is so good.
Shankaracharya had this example.
If he had computer, he would have used this example multiple times.
So this is sleep or
Deep sleep. Deep sleep. In Vedanta, it is called sushupti. So literal translation is sleep. They say dream state is really not a sleep state. They say that. But it's fine. Deep means I try to clarify that by putting deep sleep. Deep sleep meaning nature of experience. What is that? Total ignorance or total absence of awareness. That's exactly what you said without looking at the slide from your own experience. And what is the medium of experience? The gross, the physical body is not there.
Subtle bodies.
Subtle body is not there. So these are like three different states of experience.
So this is exactly like the computer sleep mode, right?
Correct.
The
So
body.
now the important thing, how this can be used in self-inquiry. What the Upanishad tells is, this is what is very important. Imagine the same person, Ratnakar, in a span of 1 week, goes through all these three different states of experience. And depending upon the state of experience, your experience was totally different. Isn't it? One is you had a horror dream, I'm just making it up. Okay, you always have good dream, I know that. So there was a horror dream. There was a wonderful trip to Niagara Falls, and there was a wonderful sleep. Who was the common entity in these three experiences? Only your consciousness. So that is the
me, because every other experience, what I'm trying to say, or what the, not me, what the Upanishad is trying to say to us is that if we conclude that our experience is going to determine who am I, in the same, for the same person in a span of few days, depending upon the state of experience you have, you get totally different experience. So the experience is conditioned or provided by the tool. If I use a binocular, I'll get a close feeling of the objects. If I use a different object, means if I use a colored glass, I'll get the colored experience. So what the Upanishad is telling is, these gadgets or the tools can distort or create experiences for me. Don't get identified with the gadget. There is an experiencer which can experience all these three states. That is the real you. Who is that experiencer that is experiencing these three states?
The consciousness.
Consciousness. Because the waking state, the consciousness was active. The dream state, consciousness was active. The deep state, sleep state, consciousness was active. What happens? The consciousness projects what is given to the screen of the memory. What exactly comes to the screen is determined by the state of my experience. So understand that state of experience is provided by the gadgets, and these gadgets are extremely useful to me. But identify that you are not gadget. You are separate from the gadget. So when I identify with the gadget, what is going to be the problem? Suppose I identify with this laptop. When this laptop is about to die, I feel that
You're dying.
I'm dying. If the laptop screen is not working properly or some problem, I feel that I have problem. So that's exactly what we do with our. This is a very, very, very powerful teaching. It's very easy for me to say that, but contemplate upon that. When you take the body as yourself, all the problems of the body becomes my problem. Whereas if I see that as an object, it is a problem of my gadget. And this is what we are going to see in the Gita also in the next verse. We already talked about that. Natue vaham jatu nasham, natvam neme janadivaha, nachaiva naja bhavishyamaha, sarve vayamataparam. There was not a time you were not existing. There was a not time I was not existent. There was not a time none of these people were absent. And there will not be a time in the future these people cease to exist. All of us were there always. When Krishna say that, he is not identifying with the physical body, he is not identifying with the subtle body, he is not identifying with the causal body. He is identifying with the consciousness. So who am I? This inquiry, this Avasthatraya is a powerful tool or methodology which tells me who I am not. It tells me, if you judge yourself based on your experience, with simple example which is known to us on a day-to-day basis, it tells you that when the state of your awareness changes, your experience changes completely. Otherwise, that etchi would be real etchi, right?
So when they do this sleep study,
Yeah.
sleep apnea,
Yeah.
are these the three states that you go through in a typical day?
Yeah, almost. It's pretty much similar to this state. Means on a high level, yes, but their definition of consciousness is totally different. Their definition of consciousness means consciousness is a property of the mind. That is what the neural definition of consciousness. That's why I always define the consciousness first. For Vedanta, consciousness means that by which you are aware of your thoughts. That's a simple definition.
Yeah. The aspect of you by which you know everything else, that is a consciousness. As a medical term is that your ability to respond to external stimuli.
Yeah.
I mean, the sleep test, I think they have different categories. They
Yeah,
have
yeah.
light sleep, deep
Yeah,
sleep.
yeah.
Because, I mean, if you do the watch thing, right, it actually tells you how long
That's
you are in the deep sleep.
That's not the same.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
That on a very high level, the first layer of that, they talk about these three, but they have a drill down version. It is done for two different purposes. Here the purpose is a model is created to show who you are and what are all the gadgets associated with you. That is the goal here.
So is it to say that if you see good things and do good things in your, so that's what your gadgets will see, and that way in your dreams you will only see those good
No,
things.
not necessarily, right? So we will talk about this in the Gita class. Like, what is transmigration or reincarnation is a big topic. We will see that in Gita
Okay.
very soon. It's like when your computer gets this. Suppose that means this computer and replace it. iPhone is a good example. When I got this new iPhone, right? So how to transfer data from iPhone 8 to iPhone 11 was very easy. You just bring the phone together.
Correct. Yeah.
Transmigration.
Yeah, that is exactly what transmigration is. There is a subtle body that moves.
Just change the
Yeah.
body. That's it.
So the personality, everything will be retained. The means what exactly you can remember. There is a lot of studies like brain. There is a. I'll quote a few experiments also. What happens? The reincarnation you cannot prove, but there are so many circumstantial evidence
Yeah.
which you can talk
I've
about.
read about those when like kids who can remember, whose parents were, where his house was, all
Yeah,
those kind
there
of
is a
stuff.
regression therapy is there. There are so many things are there, and there is a certain nervous portion of the brains can be stimulated. I forgot the scientist's name. There is a famous scientist. It is a very, very famous experiment. So when you using these electrodes and all, they stimulate certain part of your brain. The memory you never had will pop up. So we will talk in detail about this in the Bhagavad Gita class because that's a big topic there. But right now our goal is to make sure that
So when the transfer happened, what exactly transferred?
that is coming. Like it's a subtle body.
The subtle body.
Yeah. Simple answer is your causal body, subtle body will transfer. So in the Gita, our next topic is there are 3 things we need to study. Because if you don't study that, those verses won't be clear. One is what is temporary, meaning what is going to die when you die. What do not die, what is permanent without any change. That is the second entity. And the third entity, there is an entity that moves from one body to the other. We need to have a clear understanding of what is what is dying, what is being transmigrated, and what is a permanent thing which do not move at all. And Atma is the last thing. So the Atma is not the one that is moving from one body to the other. So those are the things we need to have a clarity. Because without that clarity, this is the most misinformed teaching. Because people think that Atma will move from one body to the other. All these.
This is all coming up because of the English translation.
Yeah,
of the word.
soul is not. Means remember, I said I won't use the word soul. The soul is a totally different thing. There are certain words.
That's all the Christian
Concept.
Bible concept. Those are all.
And I explained what is the Bible concept of death, right? The other
Yeah.
day. So something will survive death is a common teaching to all religion. Because if you think that nothing is going to be, you're dead when the body is dead, then there is no significance for any of these religions. Whether it is Christianity, Islam, or Hinduism, or Buddhism, nothing, right?
Yeah.
Maximum you need some yoga and meditation to keep you quiet and calm and healthy here. That's it.
Yeah.
But if something survives the death, right, then only there is a significance for any religion.
Yeah.
And what exactly survives the death and what happens to the survivor is different from different thoughts. The Abrahamic religion has a common thought, whereas all the Dharmic religion has a different thought. So we'll see all those things. The clarity is very important here. So if I summarize, what I was trying to communicate is the gadget is not you. Remember I said 2 problems we are going to address. One is identification. Second one is attachment. Wrong identification is the fundamental problem.
So if somebody is too thin or somebody is too fat, the identification of their body to yourself, you like
The ego, the complex.
they feel bad and other things. That's all because of
That is all because that's why this self-judgment comes because of misapprehension of the self. Who are you? If I identify with my car, problem.
Right.
And some of the psychological problem is wrong identification. And it's all the complex. See, once you have this teaching goes in your brain, even theoretically, forget about the practical things. Theoretically, you will see an enormous strength in you, right? That's why Krishna said, what? Gatasu na gatasumscha na anushojanti pandita. If you're a pandita, you're speaking like a pandita. Krishna was telling Arjuna, right? Prajna vadamscha bhashase. All your speeches are wonderful. You quote Dharma Shastra left and right. But your actions is not demonstrating it. Because if you're a pandita, you will not be in this particular state. Pandita means the one who has panda. And panda means atma vichaye prajna. The knowledge of yourself properly. Who you are, what you are. Remember what I use the word very cautiously. Who you are, what you are. Because sometimes I take the what I am. I'm this body. Right? I am this body. I'm Ratnakar. Who you are, I'll say I'm Ratnakar. And then what you are, I'm a body, I'm this is my dimension. So this teaching can change your whole perception completely. Very recently in New York State University, there was a seminar, how Advaita Vedanta can solve this fundamental problem like the fear of death, etc. A scientist from Australia, one lady, I forgot her name, she did the paper. And the reason why I was saying is I was referring to the chapter 16th verse of Bhagavad Gita. Whatever she said is exactly like the Shankaracharya's commentary. It's good. I'm happy that they're doing it in scientific language.
But did they acknowledge it or?
No, yeah, she acknowledged.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she did. She did. A lady, a scientist from Australia, very recently, only 1 year back. So this is coming to the mainstream. People are trying to understand, but this is just like we studied the machine learning. This is not for the entire crowd, right? Because you need to have certain frame of mind to understand this. Because this is not something that needs to be believed in. This is something that you need to understand. And for understanding, you need to put some effort. So it's day-to-day bhakti means you can just go and pray to the God, Venkatesha, save me. You get the peace of mind, and that is good enough. But if you want to go beyond that, you need to put effort.
Can I add something?
Yeah, please. Please, yeah, we're done. Yeah.
So very quickly, so this is extremely important. That's what I'm saying. Because every week we come here, do that, right? This personal inquiry is very important. Otherwise, it is easy to objectively.
Because you said 3 words. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We go to that.
Yeah.
Finish it.
Yeah, it is easy to objectively listen, enjoy, feel good, and go home. That's it, right? And next week come and listen and go on. But what is important is self-inquiry is very important. I think from my personal experience, even with these 3, Avastatraya also, that's not for me.